How have things been going since last Saturday, Thomas?
Well, it's hard for me to even say with words how great things have been going, and you'll have to apologize for my voice. I've been speaking quite a bit since last Saturday, but there's been a major shift in attitude in how we approach this this peaceful assembly, as we're now calling it, where a lot of us walked into this with frustration and anger and fear, and rightfully so, considering some of the major problems that face this world. But after a couple of days of sharing some human experiences and sharing stories and learning how much we can actually relate to each other, despite some of the artificial and skin-deep differences in each individual, we've really come to this point where we realize we're actually cutting our teeth on practicing democracy, as many of us feel we've never really experienced it, and we're actually building a community. The transformation that I've seen take place in young people and old people, men, women, single parents, people from all walks of life has been absolutely amazing. We've had people from the faith community come in who have a lot of resources, actually stand in awe at the ability of the people to work together and truly build a sense of community. And we feel we're emulating the traditions of our grandparents that actually made this province so great to begin with. Having that experience in discussing issues face to face and coming in humble without agendas, and that way we believe you're not just taught something, but you actually learn. So the progress has been amazing. We're building daily. Each General Assembly gets larger and larger, and people from all types of education backgrounds are coming in and offering their expertise. And at this stage, we're actually working in a very cohesive unit.
Excellent. So, Tracy, actually, you guys have got something coming up this weekend for families, if you want to mention that before I head to Tracy here.
Yes, Saturday we plan on having a family fun day, pretty much, where, this is a very serious issue indeed, and the fact that the entire globe has spoken out at one time shows that we are united in our concerns, despite what certain media outlets would have us believe. From what I've seen, they've tried to divide us up, but we want to bring it back to family. We want to bring it back to, people caring about each other. It's about compassion. It's about being your brother's keeper. So this Saturday, we're going to have music, face painting. I'm going to host a little bit of an art fun day with the kids. We're going to have other informational activities and info sessions. People who are actually quite versed in their specific area of expertise. We'll be throwing workshops so people can have a better understanding of the terminology used in when we're communicating these ideas. And this is what it's all about: bringing family in together and teaching and learning and just learning to help each other despite our differences. So we welcome anyone who's interested in adding or even just listening. It's both are equally important. So Saturday, please come down, bring your kids, bring your friends, and maybe we can all learn something from each other.
Excellent. And that's at Harbourside Park?
That's correct.
Right. How have you been finding it down there? I know that you guys have been getting some help from this community. I was at someone's house last night and they were heading down with some soup. And have you guys been getting a lot of support like that?
The outpouring of support has been absolutely amazing. We really didn't anticipate the amount of goods and cash donations.
Wow.
We've really, and these are people I don't even know if donation is the right word, where they just feel so compelled to help any way they can, that it's been, totally amazing to see materials, food, all forms of, the things we need to continue the logistics and the infrastructure, from faith, from small business, from individuals, from within the circle. We've all provided everything we have, and most of us are the working class, and most of us are feeling the pinch of rising prices. But despite all of this, we've managed to give whatever we can for each other, and it's been totally amazing. It's actually changed my life. I've been through a lot of powerful things in my life, but nothing quite like this.
Okay, thanks a lot, Thomas. So, Tracy Winters, you're here, and I know that you have a broad knowledge of capitalism. And why do you think that the burden of capitalism has influenced these global sort of protests and people kind of standing up for themselves? Can you give us a bit of what do you think about that? I mean,
It's interesting that you would say the burden of capitalism. The burden of capitalism has fallen on working people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that there's ever been a benevolent capitalism, but after World War II, during the Fordist era, working people had a certain degree of stability. You go to the factory, you put in your 8 hours, you go home, you get a pension, you get a gold watch. That world doesn't exist anymore. 1979, 1980, that was a real turning point. We hear these words, austerity and structural adjustment, and that's, back during Reagan and Thatcher era, all of these government services were downloaded onto, a lot of stuff was privatized. And that period gave these huge corporations and the financial industry even more power than they had before. And that's not to say that the state has its importance has decreased. Quite the contrary, and I think that people can really see that now. The state has, I think the role of the state has become very clear to people. Its job has become to ensure the flow of capital, uninterrupted flow of capital.
Mm-hmm.
Where does that leave working people, though? The way I see it, the problem lies with, at the intersection of the corporate, financial, and political sphere. You put all those things together, and we have a huge problem, and that's what has to change.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just like to add to what Thomas said about, I haven't been there since Saturday. I was there for a few hours Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
Sunday, Monday, and I went down last night. And I think if there was somebody trying to keep account of how many people have come,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that they could do that, because I'm always seeing different faces
Right.
and new faces, and people. It takes a certain kind of person to stand on a street corner with a placard, but I'm very confident that for every person that's standing up there with a placard, they are speaking for a multitude, and it's about time.
Mm-hmm. I think too that everybody is tired of seeing these big bailouts for these giant corporations, and so many people, even at a local level, starving. I mean, to that extent, do you think that sort of thing goes on in Newfoundland?
We're all a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we talk about capitalism as if it's a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and yes, it's an economic system, but it's also a process, and that's something that we don't think about. It's a process, and I like to think of it as a steamroller. It goes where profits are. When one place is no longer profitable, it moves along.
Yeah.
And it's done that all over the planet, and it's, we're all a part of it. No one is outside of it, not even the proletariat,
Mm-hmm.
the lumpen proletariat, the excess labor, the unemployed. We're all a part of it. And, what you see in Newfoundland this is what, localized expression of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at the oil industry.
Yes.
I keep hearing about a boom,
Mm.
and I keep hearing about a labor shortage.
Mm-hmm.
I just got back from Fort McMurray. I heard the same thing there, labor shortage. Meanwhile, I know so many people that can't find a job, can't even get a job interview.
Mm-hmm.
So who's benefiting from this?
That's right.
Exxon is benefiting.
Mm-hmm.
Husky is benefiting. Shell is benefiting. The Koch brothers, they're benefiting.
Yeah.
That you have a very small group that is reaping the reward off the backs of working people.
Mm-hmm.
And, we should be asking, what the hell took so long?
That's right.
People are waking up. And maybe nobody has a solution right now. We can't even begin to imagine anything outside of capitalism. But you know what? People are waking up and people are talking. Agree or disagree. At least they're starting to have that dialogue. And what's happening down on Harbourside Park is a beautiful thing. People are dropping off food
Mm-hmm.
and water and blankets and tents. And there's an exchange. And some people are giving money, which is greatly appreciated, but that's going towards food. And And we can take care of each other without money. You can't eat money.
That's right.
You know?
Yep.
And we've forgotten along the way that nobody gets there on their own. We all rely on each other. We have to. And this is a beautiful example. And what's even more beautiful about it is that it's happening in over 900 cities around the world. And
it's great. Everybody should get out and support your Occupy Newfoundland at Harbourside Park. Thanks so much to Thomas Jordan and Tracy Winters for coming in here to talk to me. Right now, we are going to RN Wagner, who is also at the Occupy Newfoundland protest, and he is going to give us a little performance on some of his thoughts. Thanks again, guys, for coming in. That was fantastic. Thanks so much. Everybody get out and support your Occupy Newfoundland. RN is going to give us a little bit of his little bit of performance of some spoken word here for us right now on CHMR FM, and we'll be right back after that with Mark Bragg. So, RN, what is your piece about today?
My piece is kind of a one about personal kind of encounters with local homelessness, kind of national political frustrations that I might have that I kind of grew into. A lot of my poems kind of start out as like kind of just one or two lines of poetry, and then they kind of turn into a song if I have a lot to say. Okay. So I just want to mention that we forgot to mention one thing about the Occupy Newfoundland. Sure. And there's a march Monday at the Clock Tower here at MUN. Okay. At 12 o'clock. So if you guys can come out to that would be great. And Sounds I'm just going to close off this a short and sweet poem called Get It Together.
Sounds good.
And hope you like it. Get it together, kid, get on the go. Never mind the weather, ignore the snow. We don't live in a land surrounded by them things we call tornadoes and volcanoes. Our premier is a man who thinks he knows, but he don't know a thing or two about me. I know this man, I call him chair unit, cause he's in a wheelchair permanently. I met him in London when an ex-girl friend lied to me about her pregnancy. We were both being free doing our spoken word poetry. Then suddenly it occurred to me something quite nicely, and that is how I met into this man. He's in a wheelchair permanently. He makes biofuels quite nicely and precisely, and I think he should be in contention to run our country, because the only thing conservative about him is his use of energy. Oh, Mr. Harper, you're driving me so crazy, not horny. I want to hit you in the head with an eco-friendly freedom frisbee. I want to hear you whine, bitch, and moan until you admit your crimes and bring the troops home. I want to hear you whine, bitch, and moan until you finally eat a Moo Moo's ice cream cone. Poverty, being a weapon of mass destruction, doesn't mean we have to get all spiffed up in attraction for Her Majesty. Just because it sometimes looks village doesn't mean what is seen is fantasy. If school was free, do you think our children, our future, would still sign up for the kilitary? The kilitary? Are you kidding me? Get it together.
Thank you very much, RN. That's RN Wagner with a piece that he wrote. It's just fantastic stuff, RN. We'll have you back again sometime. Thanks again.